Yeah, so we're live. Been so long.
We don't have to take our
Clothes off to have a good time.
I still can't believe I've never heard of that before
I
I said that.
I don't know.
Well, I never heard of it until I saw Zach and Miri make a porno.
All right.
And then at the end credits.
Which I'm surprised because I had never seen that scene. So when you showed it to me, I was like, I've watched this movie several times.
You just didn't say it at the end credits.
I just didn't realize they were a step ahead of the MCU. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome everyone. It's been a while. It's been, what, like 5-6 weeks since we've done the last episode?
Man, 5-6 weeks. I mean, yeah.
A lot's happened. I mean,
You got married.
I got married. You visited your family, what, for like 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that?
Ah, shit, you're right. I was gone for a little under 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or a little under, like 13, 12 days.
Yeah, and then yesterday I couldn't finish work. I just felt like I was going to die.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I got like 102.2 temperature, and then I pumped myself through like a drug cocktail of shit, and now I'm good. A day later.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
I always forget to take medicine when I'm sick.
And now I'm drinking elderberry tea because I'm told it's good for your immune system. So if I sound a little congested or I cough or like I normally do or clear my throat, it's because I'm getting over sickness.
There's nothing wrong with that, though. But you're still alive.
Yeah.
I'm alive, and the podcast carries on.
Yeah. Well, I guess to start off, both of us started.
This is about to be a 5-hour episode.
Probably. Well, no, I mean,
there's a lot I want to get into.
Let's start about running again. Because I've been running every day for the last week, minus yesterday because I was sick, and minus today because I don't want to undo all of the progress I've made getting unsick.
Right.
So I'll probably start tomorrow.
That's important too, especially in our 30s. You gotta read your body a little bit more than.
Yeah, I mean, I still, dude. I don't know about you, but I still feel like I'm 18.
I still feel like I'm 9.
There's the autism.
We were just discussing. We might break down my autism in several points throughout this, but
but it's good.
We might have just broke the volume barrier right there. We were just talking about
probably.
that. But I agree though. It's been good. This is something that is hard for me that I planned on maybe 20 minutes into it.
Yeah.
But now it's even good. Even the running and working out. I was going to say we all know. You know that I've kind of had a rough year. In a way, mentally. Mm. You know, highs and lows.
Heisenberg.
I
thought that's what you said for a second. Heisenberg.
You know, Heisenberg. Just, boom, bitch. No, but I worked out this morning, which is good. Had to get back in the boat.
Did you go for a run?
I lifted some weights in my room, and then it was more of a walk.
Yeah. Just to get out.
Just to enjoy the sun. Yeah, I didn't clock it in the tracking thing, but that's a good thing. But like, I keep finding, especially after. I just realized that I was just talking to somebody this morning, and I was mentioning that I was like, I can't believe I've been in Jacksonville for like 9 weeks, or not 9 weeks, 9 months.
Well, you're in January.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I kind of can't believe it.
Well, dude, that's the one thing that as I've gotten older, I've noticed that from the ages of 4, 5 years old when you're in school.
Yeah.
To college, it just seems like life takes forever. And then since I've graduated, there's that 1 year, 2 year where you're trying to figure out everything.
Right.
And then once you kind of get in the flow of like working and this and that, dude, time goes from here to
Yeah.
In a second.
Because when you're in those age frames,
I thought it was Christmas a month ago. That's like how crazy it is.
You have kindergarten, you have first grade.
Well, you can't stand school.
Third grade.
When you can't stand school.
Yeah, but you go to school, you have the weekends off.
Yeah.
You wait for summer break. You're given these chunks of time where like this is coming, that's coming. Summer break is coming, winter break's coming. Whatever it may be. Everything's in quarters or semesters. There's a time frame. And then you're done.
The days and weeks leading up to that time.
Then you're done, and they're just like, fuck you. You don't, people always want to be like free and don't like fucking numbers or a schedule. But you realize when it's just now like,
go do what you think.
It just all of a sudden blurs together.
Yeah, because when you have like doing stuff like this, like, because I remember when I first started photography, I loved it. I always had projects due. But when I'm on my own, I have to make my own projects.
Yeah, exactly.
So you gotta have the motivation to keep going and doing it.
And you and I were talking the other day, to finish the initial thing.
Yeah.
Real quick, just so it's not too over. But with the running and stuff, and pretty much my time in Jacksonville.
I'm gonna open the windows up for the light, but continue
talking.
Oh,
okay, yeah. I closed them because I didn't know if it would be too much, but I don't know. I usually can get like 4 or 5 good productive days where I'm like, I'm fucking back, baby. And that's part of exercising and working out, but even everything I'm doing, I have a few positive days, and then usually it drops pretty hard. Mainly, which we'll talk about, we're finally going to be willing to talk about work. Because everybody can relate to that.
Yeah.
We've avoided it in the past, but things like work, you work 40 plus hours a week. It's hard with all those details, but it's too hot?
That's hot.
That's hot.
Yeah, continue.
But anyways, so, I'm trying to, it's never too late, but to discover myself, find my hope. Yeah. You gotta pee?
No, I have
I thought it was the
You're
first
very bright, but continue talking.
Oh, that's hopefully bright futures, you know what I mean? it's the hopeful future.
There we go.
But
that's good.
With the whole thing, when you live several years, I actually really like the fish bowls. I've never noticed that in that.
Oh, you should see some of the other ones. I have one where there's a surfer here, and they're up here, and the fish pole, you can see the line go all the way in the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's probably nice.
I should bring that one out, but yeah. I actually like taking pictures of surfers with that pier. Yeah. Because these people are always up there.
Oh, yeah. I want to fish off it one time, but...
It's like $5 to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's 2, actually.
It's not bad. It's 3.
5 on the weekend.
It's 3. I think it's 1 or 2 to walk on. It's like 3 or 5 to bring fishing gear.
On the weekend, it's more expensive.
Is it?
I think it's 2 during the week. Weekends, it's 3, but fishing on the week, it's 5. And then fishing on the week, I think it's $3.
Every time I walk past it, I'm always just
it burns.
Wet with swimsuit.
Yeah.
But
one time I walked on without paying anything.
Really?
Yeah, I just snuck in. I didn't know it was just.
I want to do it.
That was the first time I went there, and I snuck on there, not knowing I.
Wouldn't be the first pier I've been on. It's crazy that they
charge you,
but
yeah,
also,
everywhere else I've been where there's a pier, like in California, you just walk onto it.
Yeah, but
that's also how they make tax money.
You make money, but
that's a whole other topic we can talk about.
You also got to think about the homeless and it's the one big pier in Jacksonville. Like I know there's several, but
that's true.
Anyways, my point being is, I'm trying to rediscover all this shit, and we do this running. I go to the gym, even with paintings and stuff. But what I like about all those moments, which I would like to hear your take on running again, but even with painting or running, it's nice to give you those moments in life.
Well, that's
where it feels like things kind of slow down, or at least you're focused on something that isn't just the worry of 30 plus years of your life, 20 plus years, 10 years, whatever it may be. it's nice to give yourself those moments. Is that better?
It's the sun
slow
going
time
in and
down.
out. Yeah. Well,
It's a cloudy day.
Yeah.
But this is also the first sunny day.
Yeah.
In fucking 3 weeks?
3 weeks. No, actually, it's funny you say that. I actually, since running routinely every day, so like I've been telling you that I've been having. Sorry about that. That's the tea. I've been having, not because of it is because of the job, but not because of the job. The actual physical work is not but I've been having you know when you walk in, you feel like something's on, like there's a monkey on your chest.
Yeah.
At work. Don't know why, and I'm taking a step back, and I'm realizing, there's lots of things going through my mind, like anyone at work, is you bust your ass, you do everything that you're told to do and more, and you're rewarded with your salary, which sometimes
you're rewarded with nothing now.
Just gets you by.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that's not even enough. But I think the main thing is, as I was telling you, is sometimes you'll have, let's say there's 3 people all chatting it up. One person steps away, those 2 people talk horrible about the person that just left. Yes. And then someone else steps in the conversation, and someone else leaves, and then those people talk horrible about that other person, and everyone talks horribly about everyone.
Oh, they're
constant talking behind people's backs.
We all work. I'm assuming we don't have some $1 million person watching our podcast, so I'm pretty sure everybody can relate. But yeah, you will have a conversation with somebody. So let's say you have a conversation with 3 people.
Yeah.
That third person walks out. And then immediately the conversation turns into,
that guy sucks.
What the fuck was that guy talking about?
Yeah.
But then the other person leaves and the other guy come back and you go, what the fuck were they talking about?
Sometimes it gets so vile.
Which I always try to avoid that. I'm not the guy that goes, what the fuck are they talking about? Unless I think it's funny.
And I try to remain positive all the time.
Yeah.
At least try to. And then there's times where you do have to have that negative moment where you vent out frustrations. Mm-hmm. Everyone has that moment. But dude, it's a little dark. You guys.
It's fine. It's audio.
You guys can see us.
How many fingers am I holding up?
but no, like you vent out your frustrations, but you'll have people you work with, like for example, at work we put stuff away. We have a morning truck, put stuff away.
Yeah.
And then if there's no stuff left from last night, people are like, what are we supposed to do now? Mm-hmm. And they get all pissed off. But then, if there's stuff left from last night for us to do, they're like, what do they do? What are they paying those people to do at night?
Right.
And I'm like, well, you didn't want work. Now you want work. Now you don't want work. Now you want work. I don't get it.
I will say, and this is something I've always thought, because we both work in similar fields, retail, and I think it's okay to say grocery. I know we've tried to avoid saying names, but we're not that big yet. But I always feel like if you're working at night, you're getting paid to sacrifice your night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're there to, close up the shop. You're there to be there till 10:30, 11 o'clock, midnight, whatever the job may be. I think that is the main labor of a closing shift. And I think if you're there in the morning, you get some stuff done, but it always depends on the team and what's happening. But the hard thing is, not the hard thing is, what I always think people don't realize, and I think they take, we've said it before, you used to be able to work retail, even if it was Sears or J.C. Penney's, you could support a family on that.
Yeah, back in the day.
Day.
When things cost well, I shouldn't say cost, your dollar went further.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, your dollar went further.
It's just a fact that people had these jobs, worked them 50 years, had a happy family, and now their kid is a fucking lawyer or whatever.
$2,000.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just worked out better. Whatever the politics, whatever the finances, whatever society at that time, it did work out that way. It no longer does. But I always say it's just a grocery store. Like, people will even quote me on that because I said that once.
Yeah.
People will be freaking the fuck out, this and that. And it's unfortunate because back in the day, when you could support stuff, I feel like your job didn't feel that personal.
Yeah.
Because you were, you came in, you did things. But now, everybody in those kind of jobs, they're not good forever. You know what I mean?
No,
and that makes it personal.
It's not even just that.
It's like,
you can't live off of an entry-level job.
No.
You can't, sometimes even mid-level jobs, you still need, if you're with someone else, they still have to work. I mean, there's very few jobs out there where one person can work and someone else doesn't take care of the family. There's very few jobs that do that now.
Yeah.
Both have to be working, and both have to, if you want to live comfortably, you have to budget and make certain sacrifices, which you always do. I mean, my family did. I'm sure your family did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, for sure.
But
I was going to say I didn't realize about that until later on.
But it just seems now. It just seems now where, and it's. I think I almost view it as like a microcosm. What's going on around in the world is the workplace is like the perfect example of everything else that's going. There's always, and it feels like high school sometimes when I'm at work. There's this clique, there's that clique, there's this clique, there's that clique. The morning crew is against the night crew. The mid people are like set, some are on this crew, some are on that crew. And it just seems like everyone's working at a different pace. Certain people don't really care. Some people care. You have some people that absolutely hate and despise this person. Other people try to be, a little bit more positive. And then it literally just seems like myself, and I don't want to say just myself, but it just seems like I'm standing in the middle of this entire room of people.
I'm like, why don't you just open the box and put it on the shelf and move on to the next job?
And move on to the goddamn next job.
And then maybe we make a couple jokes and go home.
Instead of cussing out another coworker or a manager or whatever, how about you shut up, do your job, because I just want to come in, clock out, go home.
Right.
That's all I want to do. But people will come up to me, and I don't know if other people do this to other people, but people will come up to me. I guess maybe it's because I'm approachable. I don't know. But they'll come up to me and say horrible things about the store, about other crew members, about management, and this and that. I'm like, God, you guys, at some point when people are so negative, it's thrusted upon you, and you can't do anything about it except take it in and relieve. You have to somehow find a way to relieve that pressure, and that's going back to where we got in the beginning about running.
Right.
Running, actually, for a brief moment, I can go, literally, because when you start running, I listen to music.
Yeah, likewise.
Musical score from movies.
I don't even like listen. I gotta listen to music. I can't listen to like a podcast while
musical
running.
Score to movies is what I listen to.
Yeah,
because it almost is like sort of like Mozart in my head. But as of late, the theme song to The Martian with Matt Damon.
I know you like that. Yeah.
That's the one I'm listening to right now because it's exactly 31 minutes. So I usually run for 31 minutes and then stop and see where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's how. And an app that you made me download actually does help too for like pacing.
No, it's good. Yeah.
But I'm finding out that instead of, one thing, exercise is good. It does help relieve that pressure that you come home with all that negativity and shit.
I know a lot of people are different, but I both think you and I benefit from physical activity.
Yeah, I do. I actually more productive when I'm more physically physically active.
I agree with that, yeah.
But I realize that my brain goes completely blank when I go running. All I care about is the next step in front of me. Mm-hmm. And so at the end of the day, at the end of the run, It's like I have like clarity. Like I have clarity. Like you wipe the slate clean. Go. All that shit doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. All that matters is what's in front of you and what you're trying to do and the goals that you want to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, 5-10 years from now, the people you work with, will you ever see them again?
Right.
Maybe one.
Yeah.
Maybe one.
You have a few people.
A few.
You keep in your mind and you hit up.
But you're never. I mean, I don't think it's the time to. I don't know if it's beneficial to stay at one company for forever.
It no longer is.
Yeah.
That's why. What was that big?
And I think that's why a lot of companies are.
What they call it? Soft quitting, quiet quitting. Do you know what I'm talking about? The term kind of went viral for a second, but pretty much you eventually.
I think the other term was
slow down to the point.
The Great Recession. I mean, instead of the Great Recession, it's the Great Resignation.
Oh yeah,
that's the other term I've heard.
And you know, it's a reflection of, and we'll keep kind of going back to the running, because I want to say something about that, which is based on everything, but it'll be whatever this main theme is. But really, I think self-improvement. I think also this main theme is what we discussed. Let's talk about real, let's go back to basics.
Yeah.
We tried to avoid talking about work and talking about art and stuff, but
let's open up about it. Let's actually open that book.
Part of being, I think what we both feel like part of art is an encompassing thought on life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And if you're going to fucking ignore the parts you want to ignore, your art's going to suffer. So I think here we are now being like, all right, let's talk about it. But with the running thing, what I was going to say, I forget what the middle point was. What were we talking about? Clarity. Well,
being with your thoughts.
These are all the points I wanted to come back to. There was one little moment I was just saying. I really should start taking notes about being like,
this is what I'm
say this, which I'll start doing that. Maybe I'll even start doing that in this one since I brought the paper out. But for me, I feel like with the job, this is kind of like that one video we posted that you were like, yeah, it actually got the most views when I was talking about energy.
Yeah.
But with running, when I'm running, it's probably the healthiest I am with myself and my thoughts and my brain. Like I push myself further. Like I want to give up.
You're growing.
And then I'm like, I know
I can go a little further.
I know I can go further and be like, this is gonna suck.
You can literally use it as a metaphor for life.
And that's what I've always said about anything with working out. And at one point, I was looking into being an athletic trainer, and unfortunately, I'm at a point. Not unfortunately, fortunately, it's a good thing. It's a good thing I'm at the point in my life where I feel like I've lost things, and I'm at a point where my delusions have been shattered, which I think is good. Mm-hmm. At one point, I said I wanted my delusions back.
Which keeps you in the rut. Some delusions, because there's some delusions.
Some delusions are good. I've mentioned Steve Martin.
Some delusions are actually good.
Steve Martin had a quote that said, "There's nothing wrong with acting upon delusions of grandeur in moments of inspiration."
Yes. I agree.
It was more or less those words.
Like someone aspiring to becoming like an actor.
Right.
You have to have a delusion because you probably have less than a 1% chance of actually doing it.
Right.
So you have to go in with delusions.
But you have to believe in that possibility.
Yes.
Or, hell, not even the possibility. You have to believe in the outcome when you show up to that audition, when you show up to the canvas, when you show up with your camera.
Yeah.
You have to believe that this is going to be something. And when running, exercise, lifting, whatever it may be, and I would still like to get my training license at some point when I've earned it and deserved it. Exercise is a perfect metaphor to life, not the perfect metaphor for 90% of jobs right now in the US.
Yeah.
Because I can run until I fucking throw up. I can run until I'm bleeding. I can lift until something gives out. I can show up, I can do it. This is me, this is the weight, this is the pace, this is my body, this is who I am, this is me dominating my mind. But when you show up to a 9 to 5 or a 6:30 to 3:30 or 6 to 2
and you put
midnight shift,
you put your blood, sweat, and tears in.
It doesn't matter how much you give. They usually want you to clock out on time. They want you to show up on time.
Take your
half hour lunch. If everything's done take your half-hour lunch, hour lunch.
Which is not paid.
If it's all done, if it's not done, it doesn't matter how hard you work. And it also, unfortunately...
Oh, by the way, here's more work.
We have seen it. When you work harder, here's more work. It doesn't matter how hard you work. And then I think what really annoys most people is that you look around and usually...
No one else is doing work.
4 out of 10. I'll say 4 out of 10. And 4 out of 10 are not working. And they don't do anything.
Everyone makes
and
the
I don't
same
even
pay.
care. And I don't even care that they're not working. I'm almost nihilistic to the idea of it at some point. But that's what the job is now. There's no reward. And it doesn't...
And everyone gets paid the same.
Yeah.
There's no incentive to give more, work harder. Especially when you see, I always felt, when I was working for Amazon, I always felt weird when I would get, and I shouldn't, but because it really helped. But I also felt weird that I was getting bonus checks, fairly large bonus checks for things that were hit. But none of the people under me were getting them. So a lot of the time, I would try to give as much of that to the people that helped me the most. Basically, it was the few people that were under me. Like I bought whiskey for one bottle of whiskey for one guy. I bought a pair of shoes that they wanted, stuff like that. I think one time I got pizza for everyone. And then I realized, well, there goes my bonus check because I'm doing for everyone.
Right.
I don't know. The way the workplace is now set up, it's everyone is gunning for that job up here because you get all the incentives, max amount of pay, and it seems like you get the least amount of responsibility, but in theory, and the way I look at it...
You get yelled at a little bit more when the big ones come up.
The more you go up, I think should be even harder every time you go up. Maybe not physically, but you're dealing with everyone. You're making the decisions. All the stress is on you.
I will say something. I don't know. It's not philosophical. It's theoretical. About businesses now. I think it's probably easier to make money than ever for these companies.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what job you work for. They have realized you don't need ground level good workers. You barely need to pay them because somebody will always, they know the necessity of a job. They know somebody will show up. They can put a patty on a grill. They can open a box and put it on the shelf. They know somebody will always replace that. And then they have the managers. And there's no joy left in almost any company. But then you hire these managers that have been beaten into submission, not even earned it. Just spent the time and said yes to the higher-ups. And now you have a slew of managers, district-wide, country-wide, who are willing to cut hours, to fuck over these bottom-level people who are desperate for their bonuses because they used to be there, but they dealt with that shit for 10 years. They might have dealt with it for 2 months, but they fucked over enough people, and corporate went, good job. Money, 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 money. The amount being paid doesn't translate to the cost of living anymore at a ground level. You almost need to be a manager to feel like you have a foot ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
And then once you become in the retail business, once you become the head honcho of one building, they pretty much have a gun to your head. The company. There's no good company. I don't know who is rewarding anybody. I mean, they're out there. They have to be out there in some sense. But it's not, because we wouldn't be talking about it.
There are good companies.
The goal
but
is, but they're small.
Yeah.
They're small, and it's 50 people, 100 people, maybe a couple hundred people. But they all have the same plan, and it's smaller. You got places like, and this isn't shitting on Walmart, because honestly, Walmart doesn't even sound like the villain anymore of the world when they used to, in a way, for being a monopoly or anything. They're no longer the monopoly.
They would never hire people for full time. So you got part-time work. Amazon does the same thing.
I was about to say, there's
Amazon,
companies
Target
I could say too.
Does the same thing.
And for what? For a healthcare that, even if they take care of half of it, you can't fully afford if you need something?
Well, mine is fairly cheap, and I do.
No,
there's things in my company
mine's not fully cheap, and mine's not. It's actually. I just found out it's not. It's actually very. It's not cheap what I have, and it's also very selective where I can use it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm saying is that from the top, and I always say when I'm in the workplace, when they're like, why the fuck are they yelling at me about this? Or like, fucking the manager came in, like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you got to realize, even when the district manager shows up, this is a trickle down.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting screamed at. And I don't think the people on top realize...
The trickle-down effect?
Yeah, the trickle-down effect. Because they just realize, like, I got to be a fucking hard-ass, and it doesn't matter if it really makes sense or not. But if they can cut 30 seconds off of production on this item, this item, this item, this item, that equates to $1,500 in a year. And if I yell at 10 stores, that's $150 in a year, or whatever the math is, 15. They look at it that way. They show up for 30 minutes. They fuck on you for 2 hours. And then they dip. And all of a sudden you have a store worth of people whose month is ruined because they're trying to live up to these unbelievable expectations just to make these top dogs a little bit more money when they're already getting way more money. But the reason they're freaking the fuck out is because it's everybody in existence are paying more, and they want to still be.
Well, I never understood
the lavish, and I ain't got nothing wrong with that. It's just I want everybody to live healthy, happy, peacefully, like we've been saying recently, with love. But those big people, they're losing their fucking cars. Yeah, they're losing all their shit that they were used to having at that position.
But do you need like
you don't need any of that.
A CEO,
but you're trying to keep up with it.
CEO makes, let's say, makes $20 million in a year.
Mm-hmm.
What if he makes $15 million? That's still a lot of money.
They
always want to make more money than the year before, which realistically, yes, can we
is
do
how
that?
You should progress as a human being.
But if you broke,
you should always
even,
be pushing.
If you broke even, is that not a bad thing? You don't want to lose. But if you're still making a shit ton of money, even if you make a little bit less, you're still making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And again, the top is always going to put it down on the low.
Which is how it works.
How it works. And I get that.
From the beginning of time to the end of time.
It's always been like that.
Yeah.
It's always been like that. And you're never going to have a perfect society. There's never going to be a utopia. But then on top of... So going from job to now, the other thing that just kind of just rips your heart out. Again, the job is the microcosm of the macrocosm. The macrocosm being the entire country or the entire world. You got what we're doing right now in the United States. You get taxed on your paycheck that is getting you by, but barely getting you by. You're getting taxed on your income. You're getting taxed for Social Security. You're getting taxed for Medicare, Medicaid, all that shit. And then there's all these other deductions. And if you do have health insurance, that comes out of your check. And so by the time you look at your check, you're like, damn, I got to pay this bill, that bill, that bill, that bill, that bill. And then if you have a house, especially now, which to me right now, buying a house doesn't make sense unless you can buy it straight cash. Because I was telling you earlier.
Right. But it's worth saying for the people at home.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like sitting here listening. It's like, yes, recap. We talk a lot.
I forget who it was in Los Angeles, but someone was telling me if you bought the median house right before I moved, I think it was $900,000 or $950,000 a year for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with a living room, all that stuff in Los Angeles was almost $1 million. If you you got to put down 10, 20%. That's anywhere from 90 grand to 100 grand, 180 grand if you're doing 10 or 20%. So and then you have to have homeowners insurance, which is insanely high now because homeowners insurance is skyrocketing everywhere. Florida and California, particularly because of hurricanes and fires and earthquakes.
And in general, whether you agree with what's happening to the climate or not, weather ain't been good. but you know what I mean? The probability, which is what insurance is basing on the probability of your shit being fucked up.
Yeah, but
has been going up.
Here's the fucking shit. Here's the fucking crazy shit.
Imagine trying to fucking franchise a Walgreens right now.
Oh, and right now, from what I hear, Walgreens is doing terrible financially.
Yeah.
But you buy a house. Someone told me if you bought a house at the interest you pay today, I think it's like just under 7%. I forget 6.8 or 5. I forget 6.85. I don't remember. It's just under 7%. A 30-year mortgage, you buy it for like 300 grand. You're gonna pay during that 30-year mortgage. You're gonna pay 3 times the amount. So like if you get 300 grand, I think it's like 600 grand worth of interest just to pay off the house. So you're going to be paying almost $1 million. Again, my math might be totally off, but you're paying way more.
Yeah.
You're paying way more in the 30 years to officially finally buy the house when you could have taken that extra money that you're paying the bank. You could have taken that and invested somewhere else, like buying a plot of land, investing in stocks or whatever, and make way more money. And the fucked up thing is with houses, you can't just sell a house like you can a stock.
Now sometimes it takes years, or you fucking cut it and you just get.
And then you have to pay somebody to do all the paperwork and everything, and then that costs money. So at the end of the day, are you really?
And I would even say, with the way things are going right now, why buy a fucking house when fucking movie theaters, restaurants, grocery stores, whatever the fuck you can think, are closing down everywhere. It doesn't fucking matter where you at. It's shutting down. And then what are you going to do? Try to save a couple bucks going to an area that's going to be developed in 15 years? And you don't think the price of everything is just going to keep going up? Because you're the first person.
Well, and then you told me that with new houses, you're telling me one guy you work with, the new houses that are built now, after like 8 or 10 years, they start falling apart.
Oh, so fuck, what are they called? Yes,
you're spending $350,000. I think the average home in Florida is like $350,000 or $400,000.
They're making. IKEA is making houses now. That's what it is. It's
shit. They put shit material.
It's exactly what I said about 10 minutes ago. It is probably the easiest it is to make money now.
Yes.
But that money will not last because it's built on just fucking people over. And to be fair, we probably have, at least in our country, the best, depending on, we don't need to get political, but we probably have the most equality now. So
than we've ever had before.
Than we ever had before.
Yeah.
And there is so much ups and downs about talking about that, but the fact is so much is cheaply achievable with no longevity anymore.
Well, here's so I remember you're talking about that. I remember my grandpa used to go to Sears and Roebuck, buy a tool, and it was guaranteed for life. And if it broke,
that's fucking
you go back.
Perfect example.
And they'd hand you a new one.
Perfect example.
Now, like what they do when I worked at the hardware store, we had a tool. I forget. Is a Black & Decker. Like a handsaw or something.
Yeah, right,
like
a Sawzall or something like that. Or
same one. Guy bought it. He actually, I remember he tried to say he bought it from our store, but he actually bought it from Walmart. He was trying to get a new one, and my boss opened it up and said, "This is not ours." And he's like, "What are you talking about? It's not yours." He's like, "All the stuff inside's made of plastic. Mine's all made of metal, and it's lifetime guarantee. This is different." Home Depot has the same thing made at their store in China, India, wherever it is, and they have it made cheaper so they can sell it cheaper, so they go to Home Depot instead of the hardware store because it's made with cheaper materials. It breaks easier, which means then you have to go back
and buy
sooner
more from
and
them
buy more
when it's already being made cheaper.
And they found I don't know when they found out that longevity doesn't make money. Product the constant buying of product
like
makes
Apple.
money.
Remember when Apple got sued because it was revealed that when a model was like
too old,
they
just shut you off.
The iOS update actually slowed down.
Yeah.
And now their fine line was like, well, it's preserving your battery and the phone, blah blah blah. But it's like, no, you're
forcing my hand.
Somebody spent. I mean, I always buy refurbished, which sometimes it smacks me on the ass, like whatever it may be. But I buy them cheaper. But people spend thousands of dollars on these phones. You're saying 2-3 years later,
it's gonna
that
be
company
worthless?
is going to make a choice to make it a lesser product to conserve your battery? Shit, I'll charge it 7 times a day. If it works the same and I can keep it for a few more years.
Yeah.
But you're not dropping that up a couple extra thousand. And I would even, since we're just kind of talking about society and everything in the fucking whole scheme of things being made cheaper or whatever it may be, that's why Detroit and Cleveland are the way they are.
Yeah.
I want us to all win, but at what sacrifice? And unfortunately,
not everyone can win. You want an equal playing field.
Yeah,
but
no, not every, and that's the harsh truth.
That's life.
That's a very
life is not fair.
You have to know that.
It's not fair
to exist in reality.
And if you took society away, me and you, there's a piece of food on the ground. I haven't eaten in a week. You haven't eaten in a week. We'll fight over that piece of food, like they do in the wild.
Yeah, probably.
You would think. Okay, so again, that's a theoretical, and that's why I love. That's why. That's why I love.
I was gonna say I would like to think. I think I would. I do think. I genuinely think.
If you're on near death, if you're in, you ever get hangry? You know when you're more agitated because you haven't eaten?
Yes.
When you're on the verge of death, and that piece of food. Very small. Only it's enough food for one person to survive.
Yeah. I think I genuinely think.
I may be wrong. Would too.
You never know. No, I think I would rather just say, okay, I'll die.
You, your wife, and kid. Food. Me, my wife, and my kid. Food.
If I had a family.
My family's got to survive.
If I had somebody.
You're picking your family over mine.
Yes. if that's the case. It probably would turn into that.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah. If there's that case. But if it was you and I in a room, I'd probably be like, we're going to fucking die.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy, bro. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I'll go a little before you. And knowing my luck, you'll eat the food, and I'll fucking live a week after you.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, shit, could have ate that. But that's not everybody. But
well,
fuck. I mean, that's what, dude. My company doesn't even. My company fucking battles you if you get fucking 20 minutes of overtime. They're like, hey, and what I don't like about it.
I'm allowed none.
Yeah, and I'm technically not, but everything is so fucked that sometimes they don't have a choice. But they would rather, and I have to take an hour lunch in the middle of my shift. I don't know what it is with Florida with that, because some companies seem that they have to do that, some don't. I hear it's a legal thing, but I've also definitely have worked at jobs here where I haven't had to take an hour lunch. But instead of me getting 30 minutes overtime at the end of the week, now this is some of the stores I've worked at, not all of them, but instead of me leaving a half hour early, showing up a half hour later, they want me to take an hour and a half lunch. I'm an hour over. They're like, take a 2-hour lunch. Just cancel it in the middle of the day.
And you don't get paid for it.
And you don't get paid for it. And they're like, well, you're still getting your 40, but it's like...
Yeah, but I'm now working even... Well, mine...
what am I going to do for those 2 hours?
Well,
there's things you can do.
I think that's the
kind
of... I work an 8-hour shift, only 8-hour shift.
Which I miss.
I have a half-hour lunch unpaid, so I lose 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Which is... I would rather work...
my lunch is unpaid.
Yeah, but you work 9 hours technically if you count your lunch.
No, it's 8. I don't.
So 4
I don't
hours.
get paid the hour.
I know you work 4 hours, get an hour lunch, work 4 hours, right?
If you're lucky,
usually
shows up.
I work 4, and
with
then
the company I'm at, my first manager, if I came in for a closing shift, I would clock in, and she would literally be like, "Go ahead and knock your lunch out right now." First minute of being on the clock.
8 straight hours.
I was part-time at the time, and that's something what we were talking about. Some companies don't hire part-time or full-time, and they're like, you need to earn it.
I think
so. I'd be working 6-7 hours some of these shifts. Honestly, I should have fucking... Hindsight 2020, always. It sucks though. Like, I don't know. Like, that's a whole different thing. Fuck that woman. She's going to get everything she deserves. There was
karma.
One time I wished karma on her, and I came back and I heard something happened to a family member, and I made a joke when she did something bad to me. And pretty much exactly, I said I don't wish harm on her. I wish harm on her family. And I came back. And her daughter was in the hospital.
Oh, God.
Dude, she cut my hours from like 30-something to 12 in 1 day notice. And she was just like, well, it's the holidays or something like that.
That's what
and I was just like...
I got 2 things I got to say. But
I wouldn't say she deserved that.
On that.
But that's how the universe works.
But on usually. That. Like, I honestly think if you... Because being open, honest... is the only way I think you can go.
It's the only reason I'm fucking been able to
stay.
I'm not successful. You know what I mean? I'm not the smartest man.
We talked about this.
But I have been helped a lot.
We talked about this.
It's been, I know honesty and love is the only reason.
That's the only way.
I'm alive right now.
And I learned that when I worked for Amazon.
The people I know. Yeah.
When I worked for Amazon, and I remember...
I don't think people realize how far... that goes, and the thing is you really can't appreciate what you get back from it because you can't give it like it's a plan for something. It
shows you care.
It shows you care
because instead of
you don't realize when people give back to you or you get better things out of it.
Instead of
it's a reward for that. Because it was never. For a reward.
Well,
and that's the only way you can
instead of that person going from you're working 30 hours next day, hey, by the way, 12 hours next week.
Yeah.
Can you give me a heads up? Like you had to have known you had to cut hours a month ago, and I'm sure I was probably first on your list.
Right.
Because you either don't like me or
Well, that situation, we literally had a group meeting with the team, and she went, hey. Just so people know, part-timers, check your schedules. I had to change things.
You're the only one.
And then I just kind of went, guess I need to check my schedule. I was the only part-timer standing there. Yeah, I was like, bitch, take me to the office.
And tell me that.
And be like, I hate to fucking do this. Or don't even say you hate to do this. I have to do this.
Yeah. You have to do it,
and
or repercussions will come upon you.
Yeah, and I...
Just be honest.
And I got no problem with going, that fucking sucks. I've been dealt a million bad hands in life. We all have. In whatever form. But I would go, okay, well, hey...
Thanks
are you okay if I try to look at something else?
Yes.
Like when you talked about Amazon, when you're like, hey...
When we went from... Yeah.
There's going to be hours cut.
We went from like 50 routes.
Do what you have to do.
We went from like 50 routes. It got cut in half the following week, and then cut in half again. And then it went down to... So it went from 50... It was like 50 routes down to 24, 25. And then from 24 went down to 12, 13. And then the next week it went down to 3. And I had... 100 people, 100 drivers calling me every day, 30 to 40 times a day. What's going on? And then one day I had enough of it where I was getting so stressed out that I said, you know what, I'm just going to go there and just tell them what's happening. Even though I'm being told by my bosses, just tell them it's a slow period and things will pick up. Yeah, but people have families. People have to pay bills. You can't just keep dragging people along, lying, because it's lying.
It's lying.
Even though
it's abuse.
you're not telling the truth. You're not lying, but you're withholding the truth, which I still think is lying.
It's worse than lying because it's tactical manipulation,
and it was kind of eating me alive.
It's tactical manipulation, which is sinister.
Yeah, so I went in.
Sometimes a necessary evil. It's the safer evil.
Yeah.
But I would say it's more evil than being a piece of shit.
You keep your job and you're safe.
Yeah.
Just say this, you keep your job, you're safe.
Like you're employed.
But if you do the right thing, you sometimes lose your job. But your conscience is clean. I remember waking up, I told my now wife, not fiance anymore.
That's weird. Crazy.
Yeah. I remember telling her, just to let you know, if I come back, fired. I'm just letting you know. I have to go and do something. And she, okay, do what you need to do. Because I had already been planning, like, I think I'm going to quit this job anyways. Go in there. I called more people in than I should have that day. Didn't get yelled at for that. And I asked them, what did they tell you during the hiring process? And they told me all these things. And I said, that's true during the busy season. This is the slow season after Christmas. It slows down. I've never worked, so there's ZL and XL. I don't know if we're going to get flagged for this, but XL is the big truck, so you have 2 people.
They may have an AI system to find this, but who cares?
So you deliver couches, big TV. That require 2 people to lift.
Yeah.
And then you have ZL, which is the small little packages you get delivered at your door.
Right.
Or in your mailbox or whatever.
Or launched from the sidewalk.
Yeah. And so I was like, I've only worked in the ZL, the smaller ones, and it usually cuts back like 30%, 40% at most. And everyone still is pretty much full-time. Maybe there's a few people, the ones that don't perform as well, they might get some of their hours cut. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, everyone...
Which is deserve it.
Things
like that is deserve it.
Everyone gets 3 days, because it's a 10-hour day for Amazon.
Yeah.
Technically.
I don't miss warehouse life, but sometimes I do.
3 days off is lovely.
It's lovely, but
that 10 straight
that fucking one day, that's what I always say. I worked 40-plus hours in a restaurant with 3 days off.
And you're like...
I was fucking dead.
You need 1 day to recover.
It's 4 days with no existence.
Yeah.
3 days does not accommodate that.
But going back to the story,
Another topic
went in there, and I said, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And if you guys need to look elsewhere, I'm here. Reference, you need me. I will do whatever I can to help you need what you need to do. And from that moment on, everyone's mood changed. Even though they knew they were fucked, everyone's like, I think I'm going to look for another job. I'll just wait it out. I'll try and get another job and make up the... When you let people, when you're honest with people and give them the information they need, they can then go off and like, okay, cool. But if you don't give them the information they need, again, like you said, it might be worse than lying because you know if you say this, everything will be okay. But if you don't say it, it's like, again, yesterday I watched The Martian.
Right. Oh,
with Matt Damon.
Okay.
And there's this one point. There's one point in the movie. They just made put together a rocket with like food and stuff to be shot to Mars to give to Matt Damon, and it blows up because they needed to. They didn't do like the check, like all the different like checks to make sure everything is good, because they didn't have time. They had to get it up and get going because he's gonna run out of food. Blows up. China calls the next day. Hey, you can use ours. It's ready to go right now. All you gotta do is put shit in it. But there's a conversation these two Chinese people have that says, we can help right now. Why aren't the Americans calling us? And the one, it was a lady, she's like, they don't know it exists. It's like, it's top secret. It's like, so if we don't say anything, he dies. But at the same time, we could have. No, we're good.
Okay, I was about to say, that did just flash though, right?
Did it? No, we're good.
I'm pretty sure it went black for a second.
No, we're good.
Maybe I blinked.
Because it's still got battery.
Yeah.
But he said, if we do nothing and he dies.
Yeah.
But if we say something, we could save him. So do you save him? Or do you look for your country's best interest and say nothing? So it's kind of that moral dilemma.
Well, it's kind of fucked up, and there's no reason we need to get into it, but with your wife, her job is literally large corporate. She's there to save people. Let's reword it in a different way.
Save the company money, but also help people from injury.
Yes, but what is the priority?
Save money.
To save the money.
Because we want to make sure this injury is,
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, shit, I hate to say it. It's fucking like jobs. I've worked a lot. Fucking warehouses. It doesn't matter where you go, and now drugs are, there's different views on them these days. But what the company has always done is, if you're working a job that fucking sucks, and let's be honest, let's just say a safe number, 70% of people probably are using substances, and I'm just saying drinking or booze. Maybe they go a little harder, depending if it's a restaurant, a warehouse, whatever it is.
Amazon, I caught so many people driving.
Yes.
Doing meth, heroin.
You're right, the needle dude. Yeah, that story. It's fucked up, but that's what you get at that level.
Yeah.
And I've always worked that level, and I understand. But, I mean, I work with knives, saws, and shit. I've never seen it, but people, oh, dude, this is fucked up. I'll say this. The point, what I'm saying, but this is also just an interesting story. The point of what I'm saying is, though, you might be doing a job and cut your hand off or some shit. And they immediately, it doesn't matter that you cut your hand off. They'll immediately drug test you and be like, they probably smoked a joint yesterday.
That's what caused it.
We don't have to pay any of it. No. Okay. So this is the crazier one. But then the other warehouse story is fucking insane. But so I use a bandsaw. And sometimes we cut ribs. Yeah. And somebody was looking to get like rib tips, like strips of ribs. And this is something a manager told me. I never saw it. But you use monkey paws while cutting. That's the safest way. Or you hold it and you're just good. This person had their hands under pork ribs.
Fucking cut their hand off.
Bandsaw. Zip, zip, zip. Cut off the tip of their fingertips by running it through. Dude, I got some horror stories to tell you. Not that I've ever seen, but secondhand from what other people have seen. Because I've worked with people who have done it a lot. But somebody at a warehouse, I don't think it was Aldi's, but this guy, He was driving a forklift in a warehouse. And this is fucking horrible, and it is his fault because it's stupid. But really, the company should have tossed him some money.
Did something. Let me brighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Continue.
It's going later, but
continue.
He's driving this forklift. I think he has a pallet or something. He's about to run into something, and there's a beam, and he loses control of the forklift somehow.
Yeah.
He sticks his leg. I don't know why the fuck he would do this. He kind of deserves it. But he sticks his leg out of the forklift to try to stop the forklift with the beam and puts his leg on a beam while it's going. Just shatters his leg. His leg has to be amputated.
Oh.
Loses his leg. There was nothing left. You're driving an industrial machine into a forklift.
You're not going to stop it.
And you try to stop it with your leg. You can only imagine whatever the fuck those bones look like. It's a jigsaw puzzle. You could pay for it, but that would be a several $billion. What surgeon is going to be like, we could put the bones back together?
And give you some iron legs.
But because they watch the video and they're like, you're told, like, this is the safety cage. You put your leg out of it. Nothing. Not a damn thing. Fired.
It's to ensure
he lost his job. No money. His leg. Nothing. Now, you were fucking stupid. How the fuck, as a multi-million, billion-dollar company, where's the sympathy?
Oh, I know. I know.
Dude, I know. He's now an unemployed, legless man. I don't know how the details worked.
Probably
I think it was in Florida, but you can't get unemployment because you were fired.
Completely limits his ability to
exist,
to do anything.
I mean, now of course,
a desk job.
People, there's people who would, overcome things. We're not going to be disableists, but
it makes life harder.
At least a quarter harder.
Yeah.
When you lose a lot of. But yeah, I mean but it's shit like that, and like from a corporate level, it's fucked up that you have a job,
dude,
that you have enough people getting hurt that fucking them over makes your margins better at the end of the year.
Well, this is one of the things that I was going to bring up earlier, and I forgot, and I just remembered it. And I've told you this before. I had a teacher in. I took an economics class, and this teacher came in to my class, and I remember him just livid because it was around like the '08 crash, and they were bailing out banks and everything like that. Which that's another thing. That the way the banking system is our money is guaranteed, federally insured by the government, which means the banks know they have to have the money there for us. So the banks, we're going to make every investment possible. We might win some, we might lose some, but it's okay because your money is guaranteed and the government's going to give you it back. So the government will just print more money and give it to the bank so that the bank can give it to us. Okay, so what does that do? So he comes in, that's what he's like, yeah, he explained all this stuff. I don't remember the professor's name. God, I wish I remember his name. Then he's like, of any time in human existence, even more now than back then, especially now with like computers basically run everything. AI now is running everything.
It's insane. I don't know if you've...
We can make things cheaper, faster, better. And the cost of everything goes up and keeps going up. Shouldn't, in theory, if we can make it cheaper, faster, better, and more accessible, shouldn't it make it cheaper, not more expensive?
Yes. I mean, yes.
Why? I understand.
But it's not utopian, because that's exactly the point I made. It's easier to make money now. And you're sacrificing...
there's
humanity.
I get you have this guy.
We have gotten to a point, which we always have.
You have, but this is what's crazy.
Yeah.
You have this guy that makes this product. It gets picked up by this guy, ships it to that location. That person then sells it. Okay, cool. I guess I understand there's a middleman. You have to pay the middleman? Great. Mm-hmm. I understand that. But you can haul more, quicker, and faster, more efficiently. And you can make it, the way science, you can grow crops a fraction what it used to be thousands of years ago. Ripley has found some lizards.
Do you want them dead?
She would love to chase them. But yeah, you can grow food faster than any point in history of man, because you have to, because there's so many people.
Right.
Yeah, and then I know there's a lot of people that have a problem with that, which, okay, I understand because we're genetically altering food to have it grow faster.
Yeah.
But are you going to say, okay, cool, there's 8 million people in the world. If we do it the old way, we can maybe only feed half of that.
Well, I will also say, in a weird... I've always said I've loved... probably my favorite person's viewpoint on anything has probably always been George Carlin.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
He's probably... in which... I don't think you can say his viewpoint is positive or bad. I think it's observation, which is what he's always been.
Observation, and I think it's his honest to God truth.
Yeah, and I know things always, it got a lot darker after his wife died.
Yeah. It
became way more nihilistic and way more like, and that's what happens when you lose a loved person. What I was going to say was, because I feel like it's almost, he always did a good job of, being like, we hate the blah, 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 but we hate the blah, 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 blah. And we're both fucked in the middle. Like, that's kind of a lot of his jokes. But, they don't want the product genetically modified. But you'll also have 8 out of 10 customers pissed when their green peppers turned 3 days after they bought it.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking organic vegetable that you bought that isn't even within fucking 50 miles of a farm.
Yeah.
Did you want it fresh? Or did you want it fake? No, you wanted the fucking perfect dream. And I feel like so many people... I don't know when the sweet point was. I don't think it was the 90s, because the 90s is when people started getting mad.
That's when it started turning... That was the beginning 90s, of where we are now.
90s, just like the WWF, that was the Attitude Era. That was fucking Limp Bizkit, Woodstock 99. The music was mad. People were doing
Depressed.
Weird shit. People started
grunge music.
Fucking cussing. Yeah. They said, Nirvana said, fuck it, we destroy our instruments
Movies
after everything.
Were dark.
It was dark.
The Crow.
There was fucking tits on screen and brains on the fucking thing. And that started even earlier on, but it just didn't matter. Fucking Beavis and Butthead, South Park. All of a sudden they just said,
who gives a shit?
The fucking 50s are done. Like, this, they had their illusion.
Dude, I remember...
During the 90s, it was like, hey, we're fucking alive.
She sees it again. No, well, I remember, they were televising Desert Storm. I was too young, but I remember seeing highlights of, watching old videos of, them televising Desert Storm, war for the first time. Ripley! Nope!
Come here. Ripley?
No.
To the bench.
But...
Come here, producer.
I remember watching... You remember Elian Gonzalez? The Cuban boy that washed up on shore in Miami.
Was he the one in the balloon?
No, he was the one that everyone died, but he washed up alive.
Do you know who I'm talking about? The balloon kid?
Maybe. I don't know.
It was like that tinfoil balloon thing.
Or something like that.
Anyways, but yes,
but
I do remember
Gonzalez, his family in Miami was refusing to let him go back to Cuba with his dad because they wanted to keep him in America. They wanted to go back to Cuba.
Right.
Because Cuba is a very poor country, but the dad's like, I want my kid back.
Yeah.
It's my kid. And I think the wife just took the kid and ran and just fled on a boat to America. Mm-hmm. Didn't even tell the dad or the husband. I remember watching live when SWAT broke into the house, basically kidnapped the kid, and sent him back to Cuba. On live television. It was the most traumatic thing I've ever seen. I was like 6, 7 years old. I'm like, why are they kidnapping this kid? They weren't kidnapping him, but they
it looked
with guns
to a child.
Yeah, like they're kidnapping a kid.
Are they gonna do that to me?
Like, that's insane. But I don't know. Even with all this pessimism and negative outlooks of everything and how everything is corrupt, I'm still extremely positive about the future.
I am too, and I
think you have to be, because if you go down that road, that's why sometimes when I'm at work and I get all this negative crap of talking behind people's back, saying this and that and whatever. I'm like, you guys are the reason why everything is the way it is. You don't understand that if you were just a little bit more kind or more loving and a little bit more honest, everything would get better.
And I don't know if that literally just takes an autistic mind to realize, because I feel like that's the same way.
I feel like it's like the allegory, Plato's The Allegory of the Cave. Dogs, quickly explain.
I was about to say,
when I read it, it blew my mind.
The further you get in, the darker it is? Or?
No, so what happened is Plato, if I recall, the people were born in the cave, or always lived in the cave, and one of the people, in the cave they had a fire, and they saw shadows of what a fox looks like, or a horse looks like, or a bunny looks like, or that's what the sun looks like on the wall from the shadow of the fire. One guy somehow accidentally gets out of the cave, or walks and somehow gets out of the cave and looks up to the sky, sees the sun, sees a horse running across the field, the touch of grass, everything like that. He comes back, and I believe they tried to plot his death, because he was explaining everything you're seeing on that wall, that rock wall, it's a lie.
It's a manipulated image.
So it's becoming the whole story is essentially when someone becomes enlightened. Does that make noise? Yeah.
I swear, I don't know.
The way it was explained to me by my professor, if I remember correctly, let's say you're the enlightened one and you go back to the people that believe this, but you know everything they believe is a lie. But they keep believing it because they were told that their entire life. But you saw different, you know it's different. You'll be ridiculed, you'll be spit on, you'll be cast out. But there's a part of you, okay, cool, I could deny myself knowing this information and being enlightened and just go back with the herd. Mm-hmm. Or I can be that outcast and go off on my own. And I guess when you discover something or you become enlightened on some subject, like we said, you can't go back once you discovered it. You can't go back. I literally feel sometimes when I'm listening to people talk, or I'm watching people, and I'm like, just something simple like people not putting the cart in the cart corral or bringing it back to the front of the store.
Yeah.
They'll leave it in a parking spot.
They'll put it next to a tree, on that little fucking landscape area.
So this is what happened. That one action will inconvenience, if it's really busy, will inconvenience someone from parking in a parking spot. Or the wind blowing it and damaging someone's car. Me having to go out a little bit further, it's Florida, it's summer, it's muggy as hell. I have to stay out there longer, expel more energy, be sweatier and more uncomfortable outside to get that one cart and then bring it back. If you would have just brought it back to the car corral and made it easier, or bring it back to the front of the store, which is maybe something people are 5 feet away. 5 feet away, and they won't do it. Or they'll, instead of pushing the cart all the way in so I can fit as many carts up, they'll just leave it.
Zigzag of 20 carts.
That one action right there, that one action has caused 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 problems, because that one person says I don't have to worry about it. Someone out there will do it for me, and I think that's the problem. Someone else will do it for me. I think that's why society is the way it is because everyone thinks that There's someone that's being paid to do that. No. That's not the case.
I think the problem is, in some sense, is
consideration. There's
the
no
biggest
consideration.
problem is thinking. I think for anybody, and it doesn't even. And I think if you are somebody who deserves, thinking you deserve special treatment.
Yeah.
I think that's a cancer.
Yeah.
And if you are a human being that deserves special treatment, I don't think, if you actually deserve it, I don't think you expect it. Now, let's say you're in a wheelchair or something.
Yes. I need help to get
please.
Yeah. Yes.
Please.
They're an exception because they need help.
Right.
And you should be willing to help that person.
But let's say you're genuinely a holier-than-thou human being who has sacrificed and given back, given all your time to less unfortunate. You're going to put the cart into the other cart.
And
it's so easy.
Well, what's so funny, all the jobs I've ever done, there's little things that would always annoy the hell out of me. And now, when I go to the grocery store, I put the cart back in the car corral because I've done that job. And I think that's another thing that sometimes I feel, even when I was at Amazon and I was an ops manager, I did the shit job. I know how bad it is. I always thought, okay, I'm running the show. It's my job to make their life as easy as possible because I wish my manager would have done something for me. This little thing, just little things would make my life a lot easier. But they didn't do that because they're thinking of themselves.
Well, I would think, and especially, this is a very job-heavy thing, but I think it's a good thing because so many of us, our jobs are our lives, or the majority of our lives.
Yeah.
So this is a good thing to talk about. But I do think when you mentioned a manager feeling that they should do more, there is more responsibility. But I feel like when you're at that management level,
I think you have to
should be
sacrifice
doing more. I don't even think you need to sacrifice. No. I think your job is to tighten everything up.
What I mean by sacrifice,
I can do this for 20 minutes. I can do that for 20 minutes. I can check this. I got to go to the computer. I got to make this.
Well,
what do you need?
This is what I mean by sacrifice.
Yeah.
So I'll use Amazon as an example. I will sacrifice 15 minutes of my time to help this person organize when I should be going to the computer and start my work. No. That 15 minutes that I give to that other person makes their job 1,000 times easier. And in turn, it's brownie points. So in the future, if I need that person, hey dude, I need help. They're more willing to help you.
Yeah.
I
think we've completely lost that. I don't know if it's always been there because you want to think of like. I always like to.
And when you're
think about medieval times,
when you run the show,
fantasize about it.
Yeah, honor, courage.
That's what you hear.
No honor and courage.
But then you hear about what's the thing that the royalty has first dibs on your wife?
Yeah, Flima Noctra.
Yeah, that. Or you hear how
Noctra.
A lot of knights were even untrained and they were raping and taking advantage.
Yeah.
And like, being good is a choice. Humans aren't good, but we do have the conscious capability of making the sacrifice our immediate satisfaction to do something good for you.
Well,
that's what our brains allow us to do.
When you run the show,
make us different than that.
When you run the show,
the animals and beautiful well-beings of the world.
If something goes down,
yeah,
you have to be willing. Even if you're on a vacation with your family, you have to be. When you sign up for it, I don't want to ever hear complain about, oh man, I was on vacation with family, I had to come. No, when you sign that piece of paper that says, now I'm running the show, dude, you're sacrificing family time, you're sacrificing going out and having fun, vacation time, everything, because you're the one with the most responsibility, which means you should be working harder than everyone else in that building. No one should ever feel that's under you should ever feel like they're working harder than you. Because if that's the case, then if someone thinks they're working harder than you,
there's plenty of jobs, almost all of them, that there's always somebody higher up.
If that's the case, if someone underneath feels they're working harder than you, there's something wrong.
But I hate to say it, and it's something which is why I'm in a fucking existential point in my life with my company. But I think that's a lot of people, is that all of a sudden I started looking at management of like, there's more freedom and I can chill out a little bit more. Like I don't have to be on the block and I'm not the one getting yelled at. Like maybe I have to get yelled at by a district manager over the performance, but I'm good at talking and I can do my job when it's time to do my job. But what I always say, and it's kind of what I said before, is the fucked up thing is a lot of managers or that second or third level, it comes from putting the time in. And after, especially with the way jobs are now, they fuck you so hard that the moment it's time for you to do the fucking, maybe you don't do the fucking. But all of a sudden you're like, the paycheck's better, my life's easier. I'm not getting yelled at by the next person. I only get yelled at when the person visits once a month to check on the store, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You know, translate that to whatever store you can think of. But it's almost like I feel like they abuse that smaller person so much that it damages that second level. Because why wouldn't you want to kick back when you finally have the moment? If you were being shit on for so long. And I think that's why...
that's the thing. I think if you kick back when you become that next level, that's where I think issues are a problem. It could be issues arise. When you're running the show, you have to constantly have your head on a swivel, constantly keep doing... I mean, again, management-wise, have I been a manager for forever? No. But when I have been a manager, what I've learned very quickly is that the moment you... that's when shit goes horrible.
Oh, yeah. A month later.
Even when you're like, oh, like, I think I can go, No, you guys gotta be on your toes. Because you have to be thinking hours ahead, days ahead, weeks ahead, months ahead. Ripley, no barking because we're trying to do something.
Whenever I've done a podcast, there's always been a dog barking.
Yeah, but...
the people love it.
But I don't know. I think you should have more stress if you're a manager. You should be more stressed. You should always be more stressed than the person underneath you. Your job,
and to be fair,
the stress that you have is the stress relieved off of the people under you. You should be relieving the stress of the people under you. You should be taking care of them, doing everything you can for them. Because, in theory, you were there.
Yeah. And you want to see it
You know
better.
exactly.
But I think people like you and I would act that way. But, unfortunately, people like you and I don't always get rewarded like that. Because, unfortunately, things that are required to... Now, you keep the employees longer. And you probably craft a better employee that could go to the management and improve the whole thing down the line. But that doesn't give you, like I said, it's easier to make money now. It doesn't give you that right away.
Well, I always thought this. This is how I always... Ripley, stop.
I know, the window's open and you can see everything.
There's a lizard right there.
Let me take a quick peek.
All right. But I'll guess I continue talking as you pee.
How long have we been talking?
It should say.
Oh, hour and a half.
There we go. I guess we'll get close to wrapping up. But I personally, you have to go into every job, as Derek takes a whiz. I wonder if they'll pick up your urine.
I was about to say, we've done this many times.
Maybe you should sit down and pee instead of stand. Ripley.
I'm just going to put my hand over my microphone.
I wonder if I should cut this out or just leave it in. Oh, I totally can hear you.
I don't know if it's picking it up or not.
Is it yellow or is it clear? Message in a bottle. Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. But what I guess I was trying to say before you had to go, oui, oui. Yes, in French. Yes, I don't know, the way I viewed it is this individual underneath me is probably not going to be here forever. So I always viewed every job as even early on, I viewed every job as like a learning curve. Or take things that that worked, that does not work. And you sort of learn. And my first boss was probably the only guy that actually mentored me. I honestly think there should be a lot of mentoring because, Ripley, stop. No more. I think there should be constant mentoring, constant teaching, almost like how they do in the military. The lead guy teaches the guy underneath him, because if that guy dies, then the guy underneath him takes over, and so on and so forth. So even if they don't stay with the company, you're teaching them skills.
Where you going? You ain't going nowhere.
She's like, no,
I'm gonna.
All right. Ripley,
don't do it.
Okay,
but yes. So if they die,
yeah,
it goes to the next person.
You can Ripley, stop.
Bippy, bippy.
But you can take you pass those, because I think it's your duty as a human being, skills and morals and shit that you've learned and you believe that work, pass them along to the next guy or woman, whoever, because it only helps them on their next step of life, and then they can pass them along to the next person.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of the time, there's no mentoring. There's no, again, speaking honest. You could be a lot better if you really tried. Stuff like
yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start thinking like, oh my God, this guy.
They're like shit.
Like fuck that guy. He called me out, but then he cares because he called you out.
Right.
So again.
Which there's something wrong with you if your reaction to somebody saying you could be better.
Yeah.
Like you're capable.
And I also think people, and that's
which I've had so many people tell me that in my life, and I'm trying
the beautiful thing
get
about
better.
the beautiful thing about being a performer, being the filmmaker. Ripley, don't you dare.
You will be punished in ways that you...
The beautiful thing is you're constantly being critiqued, ridiculed, in front of everyone. And in the beginning, it sucks.
Yeah.
But then after a while, you get such a thick skin.
I was about to say, you do get used to it.
Some of the people, you're like, you're full of shit. And there's that one person that gives you actual critique that actually is constructive. And you can actually... Because most people would say, yeah, it sucked. When I was in film school, it was... Yeah, I would have done that differently. I would have done this. I would have done that. It's cool. That's what you would have done. I probably would have never done that in a million years because that's you and I'm me. Give me some. It's like the relationship between this character to that character needed to be more developed. Okay, there we go.
Right. You probably saw it. We probably talked about it. But I saw the clip again today, and I have seen it before. But it was Gary Oldman was getting interviewed, and he said Christopher Nolan, during the 7 years of filming the Batman, gave me two directing notes throughout that 7 years. And he said, he's like, it was probably one of the best directing notes. He said he was shooting a scene, and he said Christopher Nolan just went, he's like, he stopped me. He's like, all right, we're going to do another take. But this time, the stakes are higher, or there's more at stake. And that was all the note was. But Gary Oldman was like, it's one of the best pieces of directing advice ever.
A lot of times we overtalk.
Yeah, people overtalk. If they're saying too much and critiquing you too much, they are self-masturbating.
Yeah.
They're getting themselves off. They're like, can I talk for a half hour about what you could have done better so I feel like I'm doing good? But when you genuinely, most things are just like, one of the most honest things and supportive things you can say is when it's just like, somebody's giving you an idea and they're just like, you should do that. Yeah, you can totally do that.
Yeah. And
then the trust is on you to take it further.
Yeah.
You don't need to be told.
She's like, I don't want to make too much.
She's like,
but yeah, continue.
But yeah, that's an aspect too. The people who complain the most usually are the ones doing the least.
And it's so crazy about that.
In some sense.
And when I went to film school, yes, there's a part of me that some of the people that I was at school with, I thought were overly pretentious for no reason. None of us have ever done anything, and to be that arrogant, I thought was a misjudgment. You shouldn't be that arrogant. You should have confidence in yourself, but to be that arrogant, none of us have done anything.
Right. And if you were going to be that arrogant, you wouldn't probably be in that room.
Yeah.
If you deserve to be that arrogant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
possibly. You never know. But
yeah, to pass judgment on other people, because at the end of the day, everyone is self-conscious of themselves. Mm-hmm. Everyone, even the most confident people, the most successful people, they're subconscious about themselves. They're questioning themselves all the time. But I think the ones that are really successful, they realize, yeah, this could go horribly wrong, but I want to see what happens. Mm-hmm. And they just take the leap and they take the chance. And those are the ones that are the most inspiring people because they live with no fear. They accept the fact that it's 99% probably going to fail.
Right.
There's that 1% chance, like living in denial. You got to live in denial when you're trying to do something.
Yeah.
Delusion.
Not full-blown denial.
Delusion, yes.
But
delusion.
You have to play into a bit of delusion.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you don't want a delusion of, let's say you're doing 40 pounds of cocaine a day and say, I can do this till I'm 80. That's a delusion. You're probably not going to win.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, like, I do think...
Or you're playing Russian roulette, like Christopher Walken
in Deer Hunter.
Yeah, you're not gonna always win.
I don't think he was trying to win.
That's the point.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the point. That's the reason why he played it so much.
That's a 3.5 hour discussion for another time. But
I
as far as Deer Hunter goes, but I would like to. I think there's
battery life we got.
Okay, cool.
We got one. Okay, we gotta probably wrap it up soon.
All right.
It's on one.
Then I will say this, and then let's wrap it up.
Probably got 5 minutes.
Delusion. There's a lot of good aspects of delusion. I also feel like there's a lot of negative and excuse forms of the definition of delusion, which I think I probably relied on too much in my life. Mm-hmm. But I think there is a definition of delusion that I want to have more is believing in the probability of the success.
Believing in yourself.
Yeah.
That it will happen.
That's what I mean.
Even though it's probably not going to.
You could call it delusion, but there's a negative sense of delusion where you make excuses or be like, well, I could do it.
But
and then you're not doing it.
You know what's funny?
But believing in the probability of success.
And
it's a gamble, but that's what
the failure and learning from it.
It's the
and then
rolling
you
of the
know
dice.
you know a little bit more than before. And I think that's inspiring to take a chance knowing it's most likely going to fail, but there might be that one time it does succeed. Mm-hmm. And I think that's even me. I think there's just the fear of why even try because I'm probably just going to fail. Mm-hmm. That I still fight a little bit over it. I'm getting.
You should never leave.
I'm getting better. I'm getting a lot better with that.
It's like when we went to Goodwill and I mentioned about performing on stage and we were talking about actors that like the moment you lose that fucking I want to throw up before you step on stage.
Something's wrong.
The performance lacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah.
Like you said,
we were talking right before this about even starting little mini side hustles just to make a little extra money. That you never know, they could turn into something. But there's something more. I guess to wrap my thoughts up. There's the trying, doing, like with running. The trying, doing, watching yourself progress and get better. You're experiencing different parts of life you never would have if you didn't get off the couch. If you sit on the couch and just watch the TV all day, you will be depressed. You will be alone. You will not feel anything of value because you're not creating anything of value in your life. You're letting life pass you by. And so constantly running, even if it's something small, constantly running, constantly doing something, working towards something.
That, in any metaphor, constantly running as a metaphor.
Yeah, that you feel, even if it fails, doesn't matter. You're doing it. And the doing actually is a reward rather than, oh my God, I got to do this. Like the actual process of doing the thing is the reward, and the end result should not matter at all. And if it does fail, great. Take the failure, learn from it. Now you know that doesn't work, that won't work. What if I just tweak it a little bit? And it might succeed. You don't know. But if you don't ever try, that's why most everyone, I don't know what's the percentage of people in our age group that says they're depressed or hate their job, this and that. It's very high.
90%.
It's very high.
It has to be, yeah.
Yeah, well, when you have television and all these streaming services at your hands to basically, all they want you to sit in front, like COVID, all they wanted you to sit in front of the TV and watch Netflix, watch Hulu, watch Disney Plus, all that crap. Yeah, people got depressed because they're not outside trying to do something with their life.
Right.
And so...
Yeah, if you were locked in,
that's
depending
why,
where you live.
That's why I'm so gung-ho to go out and do things. I don't care about the end result anymore. Mm-hmm. We're still good.
We're good.
I don't care about the end result anymore. I really don't. I don't want to think about the end result anymore because it actually affects what I'm doing in the moment. I don't care about the money. Eventually, at some point, money will come. At some point, it has to. If you try long enough, you become a professional at it. If you become professional at it, you're going to make some money. Even if it's not a life-changing money, you're going to make something. And every time you make money off of it, dude, whenever I get like a photography gig, dude, even if it's like $75, that's $75 I made.
Yeah.
Not on someone else's watch, on my watch.
Yeah,
it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little bit, because someone actually liked what I did for 5 minutes, or maybe they didn't like it. But who cares? They paid me.
Right.
They actually paid me to do something.
You were trusted, yeah.
And
you got to spend your time earning, doing what you're meant to do or what you love.
And so, yeah, I'm gonna
whatever that may be.
Run every day. I don't know. I mean, at some point, probably, I'll do a 5K. But I don't care at this moment. I just want to keep running.
Oh, I just want to do the 5K for the event. I really want to do a 5K.
I do too at some point.
Yeah.
But
I might be hanging out in the middle. But...
I just want to... There's so much more to life than to just work.
Oh, yeah. But I would say the 5K, I mean, it costs a little bit of money to do, but it's also... That's a giant group of people willing to spend money to do something.
I love how dogs,
whether it's for a cause or not,
acknowledge that there's a piece of glass blocking.
Like they will never. Unfortunately, that's what it's like to be a prisoner. Yeah. Just kidding.
But I don't know. I guess the theme of today, even though we had there's a lot of talk about the inconsistencies of job, the inconsistencies of how the government is, corporations are, and how the way it's set up now, it just seems like it's just set up to beat you down. Mm-hmm. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
I was about to say.
Just stop thinking about that.
And give yourself a chance to be a loving human. Be
loving, be honest. That's the two things I think we've come up today. Love and honesty are the two things you need. If you're loving and you lead with loving and you're honest. Ripley, I'm trying to make a point here and you're ruining my point. You're loving and honest with every venture in life, you'll almost always come out on top even if it fails. Because you have integrity. You have integrity. And eventually enough people will want to come back. Even if you... God, that was a Big John splash.
I was about to say, yeah.
That was a shout out to Big John. I think that's what you have to do. Damn, Ripley, you ruined my thought. Lead with
loving honesty, you come out on top, even if it fails.
Who gives a damn about the end result? Just try. Just go out and try. And actually, and realize that there's so much more to live for than just the job or just the money.
Right.
Or just the lifestyle. There's so much more. I'll end on this. I want to experience things now. Mm-hmm. Things I've never done. Yeah, they ride jet skis. I haven't done that yet. But I mean, be a dad. Mm-hmm. Make a Hollywood feature film. The process of making that happen. Becoming a world-renowned photographer. Or a business owner. Things like that. That's where my focus is now. Or, I don't know. Painting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do it for fun right now. I don't know what you're way better than I am. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know.
Right.
There might be someone that comes along like, hey.
Just do.
Yeah.
Right.
You never know. So you just keep trying, you keep doing. And who cares about one of those darts landing? Who cares?
Enjoy playing darts.
Throw it blindly and open your eyes and you might land on $100. Yeah. Like they have the balloons on the wall. You have the balloons on the wall and you throw it at one of the balloons.
Oh, right, like at a carnival? Yeah.
And there's either $1, a $5, a $10, $20, and $100. There's only one $100 bill. And you land on the 100. Oh, that's a great day.
Beautiful. Yeah, right.
It's a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lucked out. But that's what I have to say. You can, I guess, end with your thoughts.
No, I agree with that. No, I disagree with that. I'm just happy we shot the podcast. I think a focus of mine is I just want to, experience, but I want to show up and with honesty and love.
Well, showing up is 90%.
That's exactly what it is. And I just want to be around.
Like Ripley's experiencing these little lizards. She's showing up. She can't get them because there's a barrier that she doesn't realize is right in front of her, but she's trying her damnedest.
She's doing her.
And as soon as that door opens, she's going to
she would break through everything.
But finish your thought.
Yeah, no, just happy to be here, I think. And I think even when I believe between you and I, but I feel like I get most upset or confused. We talked a lot about, I wouldn't even say the focus, work is easy to talk about, but Ripley, come on now. Just the way life is. But I think the biggest frustration is that we know how beautiful and loving the world can be. And I believe the sacrifice, when you have that feeling of wanting to see that and wanting to see the world because you have love for the world, I think that is the sacrifice you have to make for yourself rather than just going through the motions like most do. And I feel like if you have that desire to live life that way, I think it's also... Ripley, you're ruining these final moments.
Ripley! No.
I think it's your responsibility, if you have those feelings, to promote and try to make other people realize that they can love life as well. They deserve to be annoyed. And that only by loving and being honest together will anything ever change.
Can we fix it? Yeah.
And that only happens by talking and listening to Artistry Under Fire.
There we go. Artistry Under Fire. We should have said that to get into like and subscribe.
Right. Hey, podcast. I'm Derrick.
I'm Greg.
Like it doesn't fucking matter. Just keep living and be happy.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Bits and pieces. I've actually never sat down.
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
And party on.
Yeah. I can support that.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll continue making more episodes on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That was a good episode.
And stuff like that.
Right.
We're back, baby.
There we go. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Have a good one.